Please note, for maximum picture quality, it may be necessary to adjust the tracking control on your VCR.
Welcome to Adjust Your Tracking, a podcast where we're trying to fill gaps in our viewing history by going through 100 years of cinema history, decade by decade, and then year by year. I'm Liam.
I'm Ollie. And that was very professional, Liam.
Thank you. I tried. It
sounds rehearsed and not just made up 10 seconds ago. So how you been anyway? You been all right?
I've been all right, yeah. We're in the middle of Storm Dennis here, which is not fun at all. It's fucking windy outside. Are we swearing on this show? I guess we are.
Yeah, we're adults. We're 30-something. Do you know, I was in the shower the other day and I couldn't remember if I was 36 or 37. It took me a little while to actually realise I'm actually 36.
I did spend like 2 years at the same age because I forgot how old I was and then realised I'd given myself a year ahead. So,
well, that's good though, because then you've got a year back then when you realise.
Yeah, I did. I felt younger, more enthused. So yeah, we'll say that we were building up on... we're going to try and do 100 years of cinema history, right? And we're going to try and watch 100 films that we have never seen before. Or at least maybe one of us hasn't seen before or whatever.
I mean, it's quite embarrassing the amount of films that I should have seen. I think a lot of this podcast is about honesty as well.
I think it is. It's a safe zone.
I've probably talked to a lot of people and lied about films I have seen, which I should have seen.
Oh, who hasn't?
And like, so it's my way of being able to tick off like films that I should have seen that haven't. Like, for example, I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
I haven't seen Casablanca. That's one for me.
No, I've not seen Casablanca. I've not seen Wizard of Oz. So do you know what I mean? There's some classics that I should have seen that I haven't.
I almost did the thing then when you said you haven't seen Wizard of Oz. I was almost doing the "you haven't seen Wizard of Oz" that kind of reaction.
We got in trouble once. Do you remember at a wedding and a young 15-year-old boy told us he'd never seen Terminator?
Terminator 2, wasn't it?
And it got us in a lot of trouble.
It did get us in a lot of trouble.
It kind of escalated quite quickly.
We weren't the aggressors.
That's a story for another time.
I have an incident. So this morning I realising we're going to record this, so I trying to start cramming in stuff I was watching, and then I realised it got to about, I don't know, midday or something like that, and I hadn't done anything apart from sit here and watch a ton of bullshit. So I thought, right, I'll do something to energise myself, and I get something to eat and I have a cup of tea, and then I'll be kind of ready when we do stuff. So I thought I'd do like a 10 minutes of yoga I've been trying to do.
You've been doing yoga?
Yeah. I've not every day. That'd be a complete lie if I said every day. But only like between 5 and 10 minutes I do of like this. I've got like a lady on my phone that's very good at yoga, and you can copy her. And
okay.
So I was doing this fucking yoga and was doing some like pose where it involved kind of sitting on my leg, I guess. It probably doesn't.
Okay.
What I do with yoga doesn't represent what the lady does on the screen at all.
Okay.
And then I kind of went to sit up to go into like downwards dog or something really normal. And my knee just buckled about 57 times. Like it was like, you remember those old things used to bend and crack when you bend them? Like my knee just did that. Like it just went.
What, like a straw kind of thing?
Yeah, like a straw. Yeah, totally. And my knee just collapsed under me, and I just ended up on the floor as a ball, like it's like quite a lot of pain. And then I tried to kind of get up again. I was like this has never happened before. So I tried to get up again and sit on my bed, and I stood and my knee just collapsed and I just hit the floor.
Oh.
And I was like, fuck. Like I'm so out of fit that I can't even exercise now.
Out of fit.
Out of fit.
Yeah, I keep getting cramp all the time now. My foot just keeps going.
Oh God! Welcome to the Old Man Podcast.
Age. So, has anything in the movie world kind of caught your eye this week?
I guess the big news this week is Birds of Prey is the biggest film to come out.
Is it the biggest film? I mean, technically, it's kind of flopped, hasn't it? I think.
But it hasn't really flopped, though.
They've had to change their name, haven't they?
Well, they tried to release it under Harley Quinn. Is that what they've chosen?
Yeah, I think they've called it Harley Quinn Birds of Prey now, because apparently people couldn't search for it on like ticket websites or something like that. So they've made it so it's a lot more easier to to search and buy tickets for. But I think they missed a trick with that film, though. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say anything. But
No, I was going to go see it. I haven't managed to, actually.
the amount of young girls and kids that love Harley Quinn and those characters, and they've totally like made it unavailable for those kids to see it because they've made it like a 15 here and a R in America.
Oh, is it?
Seems a bit of a missed opportunity to me.
Yeah, I would agree, to be honest. I think it looks really good, though. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. I saw something today which I won't be able to find now. It was like a meme or whatever about the fact that it's made the same amount of money as another film that got said it was like an outstanding success, and this is getting touted as like a flop.
What was it?
Oh, is it Ford versus Ferrari? But I think it's just it feeds into that problem, that the fact that it's like optics of how you see its success or not. I don't think Harley Quinn's made a poor amount of money at all. It's just not made 90 million that it needs to make to look as a success. So I think
But the difference with that is, though, that a franchise film is seen differently to like a one-off film, because it doesn't have to have. You're not going to have a sequel to Ford versus Ferrari, are you? The way that films work now is, so say if the budget of a film is 90 million, it needs to make at least double that to be profitable, because.
But I think it has abroad, hasn't it? Though, isn't it just America? It's not made a lot of money.
I think it's made about 90 million worldwide, but then you've got to remember that cinemas take like 50 to 60% of that. And not to mention the marketing that was involved, so that's probably another 50 million. However, so film like, for example, like the Avengers, it probably cost 350 to make Endgame, plus another 150 to market it. So at that point, it's already a $500 million movie. So it needs to make $1 billion to at least make a profit, which is nuts.
This is nuts, absolute nuts.
And that's why films like The Joker are a massive success, because it costs like 40-50 million to make, but it reaped in so much money, and I don't think it cost that much to promote, and it just made like over $1 billion. I think it may have made more than The Dark Knight at this point now, which is insane. I still haven't seen that yet. I need to watch it.
What, Ford versus Ferrari?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Or Le Mans 66.
Le Mans 66, which
Yeah.
is it called in the UK? Because you know why? It's something to do with the fact that you're not allowed to have like advertising or trademark names in the titles of stuff here.
Because I was having a conversation with someone about that, because you told me that fact last week, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then someone said, oh, why is it called Le Mans? So I was like, well, did you know? It's because you can't have it. And then they were like, oh, any other examples of that? And I was like, and I had a look, and I couldn't find any other example. I mean, there's loads of films that have been renamed over here. Like there's a rock film called Welcome to the Jungle, or in America it's called The Rundown, but over here it's called Welcome to the Jungle.
Is it called The Rundown in America?
Yeah, and then the Jumanji sequel is called Welcome to the Jungle in America, which is...
Is it called The Rundown here?
It should be called Jumanji The Rundown.
Jumanji The Rundown. I never saw that. The second one, yeah.
I watched half of it and then kind of turned it off, which is bad.
I like the first one, it was funny, but the trailer for the new one just kind of looked a bit, yeah.
Oh, so you have seen the first one?
Oh yeah, I saw the first one. I really like the first one. It's just...
See, I'm getting confused because the first one was the Robin Williams one.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Which has not aged well at all.
Hey, come on now.
It really hasn't. It's one of those films that, like in the 90s, the special effects looked absolutely amazing, and when you watch it now, it just looks like cardboard cutouts. Kind of.
Like when the kid becomes like a monkey.
Yeah, and the bugs. I think there's bugs, bigs, wasps.
There's
something.
bugs. There's rhinoceroses. His dad plays the villain as well, which I don't think anyone got when they were a kid, and it was like one of those memes. Did you know?
Directed by the great Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson has managed to coax out Rick Moranis out of his... I don't think he was retired, but he was definitely being very picky about what he did. So picky, in fact, I don't think he's actually done a live-action film since, like, 96.
I think he said he retired. I think his wife died or something, and he retired.
Yeah, she passed away, so he's looking after his kids. But I think he turned down a part in the Ghostbusters reboot, not the new one, but the
Has he turned down a part in the new one?
I don't know if they've offered him. They haven't really said anything about that. But they've said that the 3 remaining Ghostbusters are in it, and Sigourney Weaver and Annie Potts are in it. But no news on
cinema film since 1996.
Please tell me it was Big Liar.
No.
Is it Big Liar?
No, you got the wrong title.
Ah,
It's
shit,
what you're
what is
thinking
it?
of. You got the wrong title. It's him and Tom Arnold.
Yes, I've seen it.
Big Bully.
Big Bully. That's
Yeah, I've seen it too. That's his last cinema release as an actor.
It's a sad one that was his way to go out. You know, you have like the Phantom Thread as Daniel Day-Lewis last film, which was amazing, and then Rick Moranis has
Big Bully. Well, we'll see. Because he did Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which was direct to video. The third Honey Shrunk film.
That was directed by Dean Cundy, who is the cinematographer on Jurassic Park and Back to the Future and stuff like that. So he's like a really amazing DP. And then his directorial debut was flipping a straight to video film. That seems a bit unfair.
That conversation of DPs to directors, that's always a tricky one. Like Wally Pfister.
Oh God, Transcendence.
Transcendence. That was a... Oh, God.
Jan de Bont, though, he did Die Hard and then he did Speed and Twister, I believe.
That's true.
But I don't think he's done much since then. I think he did a Tomb Raider film and then fizzled out after that. He did Speed 2 Cruise Control.
And then what Rick Moranis has also did, direct to DVD, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys.
Oh, God. Didn't he do a Disney film as well?
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear.
And his last film was Brother Bear 2, which was direct to DVD in 2006.
He did
so,
that? Brother Bear is like one of the most boring Disney films. It's so middle of the road. It's just...
I've never seen it.
It was the point of time when they're like going, yeah, we don't want to do hand-drawn stuff anymore.
Is this when all films were about bears?
Oh, yeah, County Bears or whatever. All the...
County Bears and... What, 2006 was that kind of Brave time? Or was Brave after that?
No, Brave was like 2000... I want to say 2013, but it might...
2012, I think, yeah, so 6 years later. So Disney got one up on them on bear films.
But I think Brother Bear had a more interesting plot, and then it kind of went by the wayside. And I think Brave as well originally had like a bit more of an interesting plot going on with it, and then
yeah, Brave's got a big history about the fact that the Lasseter, who we shouldn't talk about either,
yeah,
didn't he fire the female director of the film and replace her?
Yeah, I heard that because she was the first female director of a Pixar film.
First female director of Pixar films, and I should say her name really, but I can't remember it. Brenda Chapman, that's it.
Have they actually had a female director yet?
No. Apart from, she's still listed as co-directing Brave, so she became the first woman to win like the best animated feature because of that. But I think it's fair to say that she didn't really direct it in the end.
That's got to be heartbreaking though, man. You spend all your time and effort on something and it gets taken away from you.
And it doesn't really become the film that she wanted to make in the end.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can kind of tell the film just doesn't really work.
Just ask Zack Snyder. He knows all about that.
Oh, God, I wish he would shut up about the fucking Snyder Cut. Every few weeks, it's like, guess what he tweeted to this Instagram channel?
I guarantee you one day that will see the light of day. One day.
I hope it comes out like that Wolverine leak came out. You know, when they did the special effects on it, it was just like Wolverine floating around in the air.
But the finished effects pretty much look like that. I remember going around to Scott Adkins' house when, name drop. When they were, because after he made that film, because he played Deadpool, yeah. And I watched the fight scenes, but the fight scenes were cut by the choreographer how he intended them to look, and they were amazing.
Okay.
But the way the editor cut them was totally different because I think if you've got Hugh Jackman in a film and Ryan Reynolds, you want to see their faces. So most of it was just close-ups.
Yeah.
So you didn't see any of the
My
cool
memory
action.
of it is it constantly cut to kind of close-ups of Ryan Reynolds' face.
Yeah, just me. Ryan Reynolds is in this film. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. With constant, like, big eyes kind of reactions and stuff.
Well, yeah, you had to have big eyes because his mouth, for some reason, was
shut.
sewn up.
A merc with a mouth.
Yeah.
Thank God we got Deadpool, because that's a great fucking film as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm interested to see what Disney, though, do with the sequel. I wonder if they're going to have Deadpool in the universe, the Marvel universe, or if it's going to be in its own separate little...
I imagine they'll fold it all in. There's more money to make.
Do you reckon they'll water him down? Because I'm guessing that was what the PG-13 version was, to see if they could do it and it be successful, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah, and I think, was that part of that as well, so it could play in China?
I can't answer that, but probably it makes sense.
Because China have got very strict rules, haven't they? So,
and they don't really care about the Marvel films, that's the problem.
I think if films have got, like, Yeah, if they've got spiritual or religious themes, I don't think they can play, and a lot of horror films don't play over in China as well.
Yeah, it's like the World of Warcraft Chinese version.
Did that not play over there?
No, they had to do a version of it where they texturized the undead in it, so you can't see bones sticking out of them and stuff. So they kind of folded the skin all over the bones and stuff, so they didn't look so.
So I imagine it made a lot of money over there.
Yeah, tons. It's always been kind of infamous that this is kind of a separate version of World of Warcraft. It's the same but very slightly different in weird ways.
I still haven't seen that. I should give it a go because the main guy, what's his name? I'm going to say this a lot. I'm like my dad. What's his name? He was in Dead Man's Shoes, and I think he played one of the apes in the second Dawn of the Apes movie.
Ben Foster?
Oh, Toby Kebbell. That's his name. Toby Kebbell. And I believe he's one of the main guys in Warcraft.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but I like him as a performer. Like Dead Man's Shoes is one of my favourite films.
I really like Warcraft. I absolutely still stand for Warcraft. I thought that film was much better than people gave it.
Do you think that though because you're a fan of the game series though, or?
Well, it might help, but most people who seem to be a fan of the game series don't like it much at all either. So I don't know.
Right. It looks like Toby Kebbell might be like the new Andy Serkis because he was Cobra in the two of the Planet of the Apes movies. He was in Warcraft, but he was also King Kong in Kong Skull Island as well. Also, another big thing this week as well, the new Batman reveal, kind of.
Oh yeah, we saw Robert Pattinson's chin.
You saw his chin and his torso. His chest looks good.
Chest looks good.
And the music is alright. It sounds very Imperial March Star Wars.
I didn't get that, but that's okay, yeah, sure. We've got to start the show properly.
Yeah. It's just becoming a rambly chat now, just looking through IMDb. Right, okay, you get it started then.
So, we thought we'd do the first episode as a bit of a bonus. It might not come out immediately, but we'll start it and we'll talk about Kevin Smith. Because he's just had Giant Silent Bob Reboot come out this year. Last year. And we figured it might be a nice way to start by coming back to this guy who was quite influential to us growing up and getting into film. Especially when, Clerks came out in, 1994, was it?
Yeah. But, I mean, we obviously weren't aware of it then. We were in our Jim Carrey is the funniest man alive.
Which he was in 94.
But, yeah, I reckon around end of, borderline 2000, 1999 or whatever, that's probably when we were first kind of introduced to Kevin Smith.
Oh, it's definitely before that, because before Dogma came out.
Yeah, it was definitely the trio of Clerks, Mallrats and Chasing Amy. We saw them all at the same time. I don't know what it was about those films, but they kind of impregnated on us because we started to write films at that time and they all took that tone, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we were trying to emulate that sound or that vernacular that he had, which is weird because no one talks like that at all in real life.
But especially Clerks. Clerks was such a good film for two aspiring kind of film geeks to make because it has, 3 locations in it. It has just dialogue. It's black and white and the dialogue's funny and the dialogue feels really grown up and the dialogue feels really kind of snappy as well. And they just are talking about the kind of geeky stuff that we always talked about. So I think Clerks was a huge film for us. And a huge film in This Can Be Done.
I mean, it was a massive eye-opener for me because at that point I'd only seen your stereotypical Hollywood films, so Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Ghostbusters. Those were the things that I obsessed over. But it was what introduced me to indie cinema and made me realise, if you have a camera and some friends, you can actually make a film and it can actually become something.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's quite inspirational, and especially if you watch the making of that film and you find out how he made it and the lengths he went to get it done. It's quite, influential and inspirational.
Well, he was the indie darling at that time when that came out in 94. Him and Quentin Tarantino basically linked together at a time period. They kind of invented that 90s indie films.
Oh, yeah, along with Richard Linklater and who's the other guy? He did Magic Mike. What's his name?
Soderbergh.
Yeah, Soderbergh. He was all part of that kind of that kind of Gen X kind of and even Spike Lee, I guess, to an extent, but that might be a bit.
I think Spike Lee to a huge extent, though. I think, yeah, definitely. It's weird that I think more than anything, Clerks and Quentin Tarantino, so Clerks and Reservoir Dogs, these two filmmakers were kind of on equal levels at that point, and they could do anything they wanted to. And it's really weird that Kevin Smith where he went, I think, compared to.
What do you mean straight away with Mallrats or
straight away, almost straight away?
Yeah,
like, and he never quite got it back, in my opinion. Which
oh yeah, a lot of people turned on him straight away for doing a Hollywood film straight after Clerks.
But Mallrats is really weird. It's like it's like he took the stuff that worked from Clerks and got rid of it to put other stuff in. It becomes a lot more vulgar without being about the kind of human characters of it.
Right, yeah.
Which is so weird, because it's why everyone loved Clerks, is that they felt so human. Like, you know, the plot was outrageous. His girlfriend sucked, was it 27 cocks?
37.
37. I
only remember that because it was my email address for years.
I suck 37 cocks at hotmail.com. But and then you had, like, doesn't one of the customers have sex with a dead body in the bathroom?
Yeah, that you never see.
Yeah, but it's not like Clerks wasn't vulgar, but you had in it a story of two people that felt really real, and then you had in it these two drug dealers, which kind of also felt real. Like you got
they weren't over the top or
no. Yeah, the fast talking guy and his muscle, basically, is the way I saw it. And I think everyone who's ever bought weed or ever talked to anyone knew those characters as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And then Mallrats comes along and it's completely different. Like, you've got.
Well, I think for a start they couldn't have any weed references. Really, that's why they called them Snoochie Boochies and stuff like that, because it was a made-up term for how they could call things weed or whatever, I guess.
So Snoochies, was that not in Clerks at all? Because I don't remember.
I don't think so. I don't think Snoochie Boochies was in Clerks. That was birthed in Mallrats.
Okay. So immediately it goes silly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they become slapstick characters.
They become slapstick. You get the Batman thing in Mallrats. So yeah,
they're just mischief makers, aren't they? Because they were tasked with taking down the game show or whatever that takes place in the mall. Because I'm sure that's what always happens in malls.
Oh, you had that weird nemesis they were trying to take down as well.
The Floors, the mall security guard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they went straight for being realistic characters to characters that had Batman belts with grapple hooks on. You
got that scene when Silent Bob's just taking out all the stuff from his jacket, like Mary Poppins.
Oh yeah, with the inflatable and stuff like that. Yeah.
The stupid thing with Mallrats is I enjoyed it when I think I first watched it, but it's so weird going back to it because it doesn't work, and it's so weird that Clerks, Mallrats, and then he tried to go back to the kind of with Chasing Amy and do something that was heartfelt again, and real. Chasing Amy at the time I thought was great. I think going back to it now, it's not.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with that film. I think the first half of it is actually quite enjoyable, but then it kind of, when it tries to become a drama, because it kind of just flips from being a comedy to being a straight-up drama, and it just doesn't work as a drama for me.
No. And you got the whole problematic thing about, lesbians and gay people and straight people and the rest of that, which doesn't work now. At the time, it felt so woke. Talking about homosexuality and stuff, but going back to it now, it's really bad. It is really bad.
But I think a lot of his films, especially even Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, has loads of kind of...
It's incredible gay panic in his films.
Yeah, which is weird because his brother's gay, which is bizarre.
I didn't know that. I think we should get into the film proper, because this is that page of notes was just me writing about that mainly. But
so Liam sent me a page of his notes on the film that we're going to talk about, which is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. It looks like an insane man's. We need to post it somewhere, like on Instagram or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I was losing my mind.
So how many times have you watched this film?
Just once.
Just once. So I've watched it twice. So how do you think I feel?
Oh God. It's weird because, and I think what we have to talk about Kevin Smith though. That's the thing, and he tried to do something seriously, and it did work. I think Chasing Amy worked for him at the time.
Oh yeah, he won awards for that for writing. He won like Independent Spirit Award. Jason Lee won like Best Acting and stuff like that. So, you know, and then he did Dogma straight after that, didn't he?
Which I'd never gone back to watch, but I still would say it's a good film. I don't know.
It's okay. It's very pedestrian in the way it's shot. It's a lot of people like walking to a location and sitting down to have a conversation, and they walk to a bit further on in their journey to another location to sit down to have another chat.
This is what the Jay and Silent Bob reboot was. It was driving me fucking mad. The whole film was just two shots. And just people reacting with, Big Eye reacting constantly.
That started in Dogma, the Silent Bob Big Eyes.
Oh, did it? See, you've got the history. This is why it's important. You know this film so much better than I do.
Unfortunately,
and this is what I was writing on my little thing. I went, when did Silent Bob become this? Like, when did it become so annoying?
I think Silent Bob started to become like that when Kevin Smith started to do his like public speaking engagements, and he started to perfect his like shtick and his stories, and they started to become more and more cartoony as he'd kind of tell them, and then he started to do the podcast, and then he started to get even bigger, and his bravado started to get even bigger, and it just translated into like his character on screen as well, I guess.
He's good at talking though. That's the thing.
But it's like anything that starts off as like, and this is going to sound like a really weird analogy, but if you watch the first series of Scrubs, bear with me. Okay. It starts off feeling like, oh, they're in a real hospital. It feels a bit mundane, a bit boring and stuff. And by the end of it,
a hospital that's not painted.
It's bright colours everywhere. Everyone's wearing floral scrubs and that. And you're like thinking, what the fuck's going on? And it's kind of like with Kevin Smith's acting in those films, he's gone from just being this kind of morose guy that's kind of standing by Jay, not saying anything, just hardly reacting to him, to being this kind of like wide-eyed Looney Tune character.
The emoji thing was driving me mad.
It's the over-typing,
because every time he did it, it was like the same length of bit. It was like a Family Guy bit, and it was just infuriating to me. But then, like, after Dogma, he drops off a cliff, though. Like, Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, Jersey Girl, Clerks 2 are just these... Well, Jersey Girl's a mess. Jersey Girl doesn't fit into this, but the ones that are like View Askew films are just these big cartoony messes that are not at all like work. Clerks 2 annoys the crap out of me, but
it has a dance. It has like a musical moment, doesn't it, where everyone breaks out into a big song and dance moment.
And it's like, what? This isn't Clerks. I remember being so excited for Clerks 2 because I thought he would make Clerks, and he doesn't. He just made a big cartoony Kevin Smith film. Like, he basically made Mallrats 2 with Clerks characters in it.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And it's weird that he didn't learn what people liked about Clerks ever. But that's the thing, like, this is why I almost feel uncomfortable sitting here moaning about Kevin Smith, is because he hates critics.
Oh, yeah.
And that he becomes obsessed with critics. And that's what Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back is all about, if I remember. It's just like, how dare you criticise me? I'm doing what I like, kind of thing. And
it's weird, though, the reaction that I've seen online from, like, I'm on a few movie groups on Facebook or whatever, and they're like going, oh, this is the most over-the-top kind of self-indulgent Kevin Smith film I've ever seen, and I love it. And I'm like, that's the reason why I kind of hated it.
That's the reason I don't think I can stand it, yeah. It's not even I don't like Kevin Smith. I think I like Kevin Smith. I think he's a really good guy. But
I mean, I've shared a taxi with him, and he is genuinely a lovely, awesome guy, and I believe there's a really good filmmaker in him. Like, have you seen Red State?
Yeah, I did watch Red State.
And I don't know if my viewing is blinded because he was in the screening room when I saw it, but I quite liked it. But I need to watch it again to judge it better.
Well, this morning when I was getting obsessed with Kevin Smith, I watched Tusk.
Oh, have you not seen Tusk before?
No, I'd never watched his latter films. I'd never seen Cop Out. I watched Red State and I don't really remember it, but I decided to watch Tusk. And Tusk could still be playing right now. It feels like the longest fucking film I've ever watched.
For one joke.
Because there's nothing in it.
I know.
There's nothing in it. And like, it just keeps going on. I looked at it and like it was like 40 minutes left and I figured he was already a walrus and Johnny Depp hadn't been in it yet. And that Johnny Depp character in that film is just the worst thing.
So that film became about because of an episode of his podcast.
Yeah. which is what Kevin Smith becomes, you know.
So he read the story about a Gumtree ad, which, ironically enough, our friend Jackie Gavin lived with the guy who wrote the Gumtree ad that Tusk is based on, which is a really weird story in itself.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
No. So yeah, I had to try and get them in contact because obviously he owned the rights to the story technically because he wrote the Gumtree ad.
Okay.
So when they found out that I knew the person who wrote the Gumtree ad, or by proxy I knew the person who wrote the Gumtree ad, they had to make him a producer on the film. But anyway,
So
yeah,
you had to get in contact with him and get in contact with the producers of Tusk.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Anyway, but yeah, that film is not great, and it's a shame because I think that might have been Michael Park's last film. Maybe
I was going to ask that. Yeah, it might be. He's all right in it. He's not great in it. He's all right in it though.
But he's one of those actors who I think can take anything, can make it sound.
I actually thought Justin Long was quite good in it, if I'm honest.
I actually like Justin Long in a lot of things, to be honest. Maybe not in the film that we're talking about today, but
That scene confused the crap out of me. I didn't know why it was in it, or funny, or what the joke was, and then.
Well, you know that character's in
No, I found
Zack and
this
Miri
out.
Make a Porno.
Go on, say that again.
So he's in Zack and Miri Make a Porno, Justin St. Randy or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know that going in. I didn't remember him from that film. I basically then watched a video of Kevin Smith explaining that he's merging his films in more universes, and that's why he needed that scene to be in that film.
Yeah, because you need to merge those universes together. So the plot of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, it's like a meta story, I guess, of them remaking the Jay and Silent Bob movie that they make in Strikes Back. But then they added on an extra story of where he meets his daughter.
Which is because he had as a daughter.
Yeah, with a fling with the woman in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
No. I mean, it's in the film because Jason Mewes had a daughter.
Oh, in real life, yeah.
Which is almost the infuriating thing for me about Kevin Smith is that he just makes films about his life. Yeah, and it's fine. You make films whatever you're doing and whatever, but it's just the whole film felt like that to me. It felt like it was just about himself, I guess. Which I don't know. Cut this out.
Well, I guess they say that about a lot of filmmakers, though. I mean, if you look at Christopher Nolan's films, most of those films, the characters in his films are proxies of him. So if you watch Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio is pretty much Christopher Nolan, the way he dresses and the way he looks.
It's that film theory, isn't it? That every film is about the director.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's auteur directing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess at some point I got tired of Kevin Smith writing. Is that what it is?
Well, for me, this film felt like a one draft film that he did one draft of. I've heard him make reference. He was on his second or third draft of this film. And I was like, I don't believe that. Like, it feels like a one draft film.
Well, it's kind of a third draft film anyway, because he tried to make Mallrats 2.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tried to make Clerks 3. And neither of those projects got off the ground.
Yeah.
So he instead did this.
So what? He took elements from those and put it in this film? Is that what?
I don't know. I don't know what the previous scripts were, but it feels like to me he was just trying somehow to get a View Askew film out, and he failed at doing the two things. So he just did this basically, which I guess had similar themes in it.
I'll tell you what's confusing as well in this film. So Kevin Smith's in it as a character, but Bob in it is now vegan.
Yeah.
And he's also had a heart attack and can't fly because he was too fat, or referenced that he was too fat to fly. So,
oh God, I forgot they had that bit in it.
So, like,
I didn't even get that. I had to Google it and found out what the point they were making.
It just felt very lazy, the writing. Like, the guy who has the taxi driver who has an oven in his car. What's that about?
What is that about? And
the hater tots.
One of my notes was, oh God, Fred Armisten's back. I just assumed it was going to be like, yeah, he's in it and that's the end of it. And he kept on coming back and I was so confused.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, what? Okay, that's actually a thing.
Later on, the girls somehow end up with the KKK.
Yeah.
Which was really bizarre.
And Chris Jericho's eating the hater tots that Fred Armisen.
Is that Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
That was that hater tots joke for me felt like, in Mallrats where they've got the back of a Volkswagen joke.
Oh fuck yeah, yeah.
A shit joke that just didn't go anywhere. It felt like that kind of joke to me. And it was like, ugh.
I couldn't believe it kept on getting called back. That's what I just couldn't believe.
It's one of those shitty callback jokes. I'll tell you the one thing that kept distracting me the whole way through the film. And I'll say this first though. I actually thought Jason Mewes was all right in the film.
Yeah.
I thought out of everyone in the film, he was the best in it.
Yeah.
And because I rewatched Strikes Back as well, he's actually surprisingly really. It sounds horrible to say that, but he's actually really good in Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back and really holds it together.
Jason Mewes has to carry the film. He's got no choice.
Yeah, but I think he's quite good in it.
I think he's quite good.
But I couldn't get past his lips in this, man. Like, his mouth is really weird to look at now. And I think that's because he's had, like, all dentures put in. Because I'm guessing heroin probably fucks up with your gums and stuff.
He's clean now, and that's great. And I don't want to say, but...
Oh, yeah.
It is a bit distracting.
But then I guess you could probably say the same about Kevin Smith is now thin.
Yeah.
So we're used to a portly Silent Bob.
They both look wrong, is fair to say, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess as well, it's, 15 years since they've last done a Jane Silent Bob film. Like, what was it, Clerks 2, the last one they were in? Well,
was Degrassi after that?
Oh, God.
And that fucking cartoon, what was it called? Jane Silent Bob's...
Super groovy cartoon movie.
Super groovy? Oh, that film.
Did you watch any of it?
No, I watched a very bit of it and I couldn't stick with it because the animation was so terrible. And it just was so lazy. Lazy writing and lazy jokes and just...
Do you know what the one thing I found really weird? Like, first of all, I couldn't stand his daughter in it. She just drives me nuts in it.
She's not great.
The lines he writes for his daughter to say, I just don't know how you could do it. So he writes lines that his daughter's got 2 dildos and a strap on.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, how could you write that? Like,
I thought that wasn't a bad line, if I'm honest.
But I don't know how you could write that for your daughter, though, man. I mean, that just sounds all kinds of wrong.
It's such a weird film to watch, though, because it's just endless cameos and endless references. And it doesn't stop giving you cameos and references. And a lot of the references, I don't even understand. I just know they're references.
I know he's got Matt Damon in this film for a really bizarre cameo.
That's such a bizarre cameo. Why does that happen?
And then you've got the Ben Affleck super preachy scene.
Yeah, which is him trying to get rid of the problems from chasing Amy.
Which is weird because that scene wasn't in the film before. It's quite a lengthy scene because I think he only wrote that film into halfway into production when he found out Ben Affleck wanted to be in the film. So he was like, "Oh, I'll write this flipping 10-page scene for you."
Yeah.
So I wonder what was in that space then before.
Probably nothing. It didn't make any difference. You can cut anything out of this film and it doesn't make a difference.
That's true. Because I was watching Strikes Back as well. So they have a scene in that, like a sequence in that, where they're going through the studio backlot and they're going through all different kind of movies. So Good Will Hunting 2, Scream 4 or whatever. And I think they see a Daredevil film being made and stuff like that. And this one, I don't think going from comic convention panel to panel is as interesting as a studio backlot.
As a studio lot. No, I don't think it was a good thing to set up at all. It didn't make any sense.
Like, the Clerks panel was funny because most of the people in it, like, they didn't have Randall in it. They had one guy in it who is Kevin Smith's cousin who was actually cut out of the finished film, and he shoots Dante in it, and he's on the panel. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
I think I wrote a note about the Clerks thing, and I can't find it in my mass of notes.
I just want to preface this though. I was having a moan about him writing lines about his daughter having dildos and stuff. I've got nothing wrong with girls having sexualized dialogue or, because, men do it all the time. It's just the fact that her dad wrote it. That's all I have issue with because I find that just a bit weird.
I think him and his daughter seem to have a really good relationship.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
I just, the whole plot of the film was this idea that having a daughter is a good thing because it's like a reboot of you. Is that was the moral of the film? I'm
guessing so. I assume so. And I'm guessing, is that like one of her best friends was the deaf girl? Yeah. So she's kind of like the Silent Bob, I guess. I don't understand why there's a girl called Jihad though.
Yeah, because that was hilarious. That's why.
Yes.
I mean, so if this is the way he kind of is trying to put parenting into his films, and he does it through a lens of comic book movies, reboot, remake, then fine.
But you say that, like, Jersey Girl was all about being a dad, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, good point.
And that was just a boring, middle of the road,
It's
like,
just a boring film.
comedy drama kind of thing.
This was boring as well. Like, it was
true.
tiresome. It was so hard to make it all the way through, and it's just... I don't want to sit here and just moan about him. But, like, I did really go into this thinking I would like it. It was hard to like it at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like beating up a good friend.
Yeah.
If like you want them to do well, and you kind of champion them to do something interesting, and it's just resting on the laurels of having these cameos. Which, I mean, the original film had loads of cameos, but I think they kind of worked in that, and they felt a bit more, not seamless, but they kind of...
I think it's what I disliked about that film originally anyway, and I can't believe they did it again in the same way.
No, but I kind of like George Carlin's little cameo in the original one and stuff like that, and then you have like you had Scooby Doo moment as well, where they get like they're hitchhiking and they get picked up in the mystery mobile, and it's almost like a pre-Family Guy kind of gag where it's like a meta joke kind of.
Well, that's the thing. The best thing he ever did apart from Clerks was probably the Clerks cartoon.
Which is very much like that kind of...
Which was like that, yeah. Which I guess what he's always been trying to do since then is bring that kind of sense of anarchy into his live action films. Though it isn't all he's tried to do, because he's tried to do stuff like Red State and Tusk and stuff like that. But this doesn't feel like that kind of sense of cartoon anarchy to it. It feels really slow and really kind of...
Oh, it's very stilted.
Stilted, yeah, because the whole film isn't shot with any dynamism. Is that a word? Like... Because it's just these static shots constantly.
It's very pedestrian shot, basically.
And it's like when we used to make films. This is the scene where two people sit on a couch. This is the scene when two people walk down the road. This is the scene when two people order food. Like, it's just that constantly. It's
but
weird.
Do you think, like, people really overact as well? Like, the opening scene where, like, the SWAT team come and, like, bust them at their chicken... What was it? Cock
smokers. I wrote that on my
cock
thing.
Smokers. And, like, everyone's so aggressive, like, overly aggressive. I'm like, no one would be like that. Like, they're just so, like... Oh, and then they're like, he hasn't got a dick!
Yeah,
and I'm like, who would be, like, that verbally upset or... like...
The film lost me at that point. I was literally thinking you're doing a reference to a reference to a reference to Silence of the Lambs. Like, it's like, who is this for? Like... Because if you're referencing Silence of the Lambs in 2020, I mean, Silence of the Lambs is a fantastic film, but it's a weird reference. But you're only going to find that funny if you've seen all the other films, and that's what it's for. He cultivated a group of fans that became his kind of moneymakers, and he just makes films for that. Like,
are you going to have people, though, who now just think that joke
is
a callback to the Clerks 2, and that was the only time it was, like, they don't know it's from...
Yeah, no.
Silence of the Lambs. Do you know what I mean? This sounds horrible and a bit generalizing, but like a lot of fans of Kevin Smith, they haven't grown out of him. Basically, they've kind of stuck with him, which is fine. If that's what you're into, that's totally fine, but they haven't kind of moved on from it. And I think because he's such a kind of like hands-on with his fans, they really adhere to him, and they kind of stick through him through thick and thin, which I guess I have to an extent as well. Do you know what I mean? I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I think it's right. I think it does make you want to stick with him, and makes you want to kind of grab hold of it, because at one point he made something that was really good and really influential, and he's kind of just he's a source of inspiration in that element. But since then, he's just been this source of frustration, endless frustration. Like, please do something good again. Like, please do something that speaks to me again.
Have you heard about the plot of the new Clerks 3?
No.
So apparently the original script he can't use because he's used elements in it for this film, for this reboot. And apparently it's quite a dark film.
Okay.
So his new version is now that Randall has a heart attack.
Oh God, of course.
And then decides to make a film in the quick stop.
Yeah. Okay.
But he's also done that storyline in Zack and Miri.
Yeah, yeah.
So they make a porno in their coffee shop where they work.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just now it's becoming just like what's the cycle like the snake eating its own tail
Yeah,
now? It's just kind of
Ross. It's so weird that the criticism I was trying to say earlier about him was that he just does stuff from his own life, which is not fair criticism. That's what everyone does, but he really does just do stuff from his own life, like really strongly does that.
oh yeah. But I don't know what the plot for Mallrats 2 is. Originally, it was meant to be Mallrats 2 Die Hard in a Mall because he was going to do an animated film based on it originally.
They're talking about Kevin Smith's career. He's just talking about a series of projects that never happened.
Like Guillermo del Toro's like that though.
Yeah,
as well.
it's true.
Well, I mean, you look at the films that Kevin Smith was supposed to direct, like Ranger Danger.
One of my notes when watching it was Ranger Danger makes me sad.
What do you mean? Because you thought that'd be interesting.
It was at the back of the comic. It was a Ranger Danger advert. And it just made me think that I've been seeing references to Ranger Danger for like, I don't know, 20 years or something. And he's never done anything with it. And all he keeps doing is just putting references to Ranger Danger and stuff as if this thing exists. And it's like, just make it, Kevin.
Did you notice, though, the Ranger Danger picture on that comic book is, I think it's lifted from Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales.
Oh,
it's
right.
basically a redrawn version of that.
Okay.
But that comic book shop was the most sparse comic book shop I've ever seen.
Well, no one buys comics anymore.
It was one comic deep on the shelves. But I guess like because he shot it, probably shot it in Atlanta or something like that. So he was away from New Jersey, so he was away from his own comic book shop. So he didn't have that location. So they just had to make like these quick and cheap locations that worked for them. But so he was going to do Die Hard in a mall. But then he was going to do a Mallrats 2, and he was going to call Mallbrats. And then it became the Mallbrats series, and it was going to become like a 6-episode series or whatever. And now I think it's back to being a film, so God knows what that's going to be.
I got it here. It says Twilight of the Mallrats or something.
Oh, God.
Or maybe I'm making that up.
Well, do you remember when he kept trying to call Clerks 2 Passion of the Clerks?
It's good. That's a good title. It's better than Clerks 2. So I watched Tusk, and you know in Tusk you got the two, his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter play the clerks in that.
Oh yeah.
And then he made Yoga Hosers, which I didn't get around to watching, but I was going to watch.
Apparently they fight sausage Nazis.
Yeah, the whole film seems to be a joke of the fact that you can merge the word bratwurst and Nazi. That seems to be the joke.
Oh God.
But I haven't seen it, but I've been told that film is kind of like it's trying to make a film about teenage girls.
Okay.
And when I was watching Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, it made me think about the fact that this film is trying to be a film about teenage girls more than it is trying to be about kind of Jay and Silent Bob. Because as soon as they come into the film, it kind of changes the film about those four characters, like a gang of teenage girls, in a way.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kevin Smith is trying to do that. Like he is trying to write for his daughter in a way that, look, I've raised a teenage girl now. I know what teenage girls are like. I'm going to make content for them, but in a Kevin Smith kind of way.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's what he was going to do with Mallrats, is my point. I wonder if he was going to try and do Mallrats about modern teenage girls. And that was going to be his sequel.
Oh, yeah, 100%, I reckon, yeah.
And so that's what he took from that didn't happen. He put it into this film.
Well, I think part of the idea was there was going to be a Comic-Con in the mall. So that's definitely what he took for the end of this film, I reckon. Was the Chronicon, which was probably what was going to be in the mall.
Yeah,
I guess.
Probably.
But yeah, I always thought, from watching the film, I thought that they were going to pass the mantle of Jay and Silent Bob to at least the two girls.
I thought that, yeah.
Harley Quinn and the deaf girl.
You shouldn't call it just the deaf girl.
Well, I don't know what her name is. I apologise. Let's have a look.
I haven't got a clue. I could barely name a film net character in that at all.
I'm allowed to anyway. It's like, because I'm partially deaf, I'm allowed to say that.
Sure, that's how it works.
Oh, apparently Moose Jaws is another film that he's going to make.
Yeah, Moose Jaws is meant to be the third of his Canadian trilogy. It's the whole Tusk thing was pissing me off because it was just like, haha, Canada's funny. And it was just like, It was really getting on my nerves. Brian O'Halloran is in this film so much that it was confusing to me.
Well, because they're all meant to be related. His characters. So you've got
Oh, was he playing
Gil
different
Hicks.
characters?
Yeah, so it's Dante Hicks, Gil Hicks, and Grant Hicks, and they're all related.
Okay,
So...
here's one for you. Here's one for you for your VSQ knowledge.
Go on.
Why was there such a focus on a fat guy drinking coffee outside of the...
I kind of want to say his name's Dave Mandel, and he's also the producer and showrunner of Veep.
Oh, really?
And formerly the executive producer of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It could be a different guy, though. But I'm pretty sure it's him. But again, I don't know.
So it was something I was meant to concentrate on then. Because it was just that watching this film felt like stuff like, I think I'm meant to recognise that. That's meant to be a thing I know. It's like watching a spoof film full of references to things you don't know at all. But you can tell they're doing it and referencing it, but you can't actually tell who it is. This is impossible. I actually cannot tell you that character's name. I've gone through IMDb and it's in an order that I can't. Soapy.
Soapy?
Is the character's name. Yeah. Just played by Shell Edmonds.
Oh, okay.
Soapy. I do not remember her being called Soapy. But it is her.
I apologise to Shell Edmond for calling you the deaf girl.
Well, I can't believe we've gone through all that and found out that I'd never heard of being called Soapy.
Well, yes, she was never... I mean, I know that the one girl was called Millennium Falcon and the other one was called Jihad, and I've forgotten what the Chinese/Russian girl was.
That was Shanwu.
Shanwu. See, that came out of nowhere, the whole Black Widow...
She was trying to destroy American pop culture by killing Kevin Smith, because that would have a big impact. What really annoyed me, this is like a cinema sins bullshit, so I don't care. But what really annoyed me was Silent Bob gets chucked out of the convention, and then it all kicks off in there, and Jay does that big speech about how like he's her father, and then you see outside Silent Bob look at the kind of suit, the iron suit.
Oh yeah.
Which then you cut in and the door's pummeling, right?
Yeah.
And he busts in and Silent Bob's wearing the iron Silent Bob's costume or something.
She's even got a backwards cap.
Yeah.
On it.
But Jay announces that before he comes in the room. So I was like, how the fuck did Jay know there was a...
Oh, he says Iron Bob?
Yeah. He goes, now you're going to meet my friend Iron Bob. So how the fuck does Jay know that? Like, I was like, has this costume been in other films? Or is this something that happens, that follows them around or something? Or it was so annoying to me. So then I was like, I watched this film and then I went, I want to watch another Kevin Smith film. So I watched Tusk because it was the only one available on Prime, basically, that I hadn't seen. And I was just like, I want to watch more Kevin Smith stuff. Who is Kevin Smith? Why is he trying to do this? Like, I know he retired. Like, why? Like, so I ended up watching Hollyweed.
Oh, is this his TV show?
Have you seen? Yeah, so he's done a sitcom pilot.
Oh, it's just one episode.
It's just one episode at the moment. I don't know if it got picked up or what, but I found it online.
Okay.
And Kevin Smith is much better in that than he is in this film. Like, completely better in it.
Really?
And like, I felt like the problem with Jay and Silent Bob is the fact that Kevin Smith isn't good at being silent at all. And he kind of ruins it because he's not a good silent person. He's a guy that has a motor mouth on him. There's a guy who never stops talking. And it's silly that he overplays his role as Silent Bob now because he feels like he's not doing enough. And if he's not doing that, is what I thought anyway. And then Hollyweed, he's quite funny and it's not great. It's, but I liked it a lot more than I like this film. A lot more.
So what's the premise of that then?
I think that him and his mate run a weed dispensary in California, basically. And
okay.
They care about growing the weed. I think it's a good sitcom plot, basically. But then I started watching videos of Kevin Smith talking about Kevin Smith as well.
What, talking about his favourite subject?
Kevin Smith, yeah. And like
Yeah.
he does this video about theories about the VSQ world, and like people were writing on Reddit about theories they have about the VSQ universe and stuff. And he says that someone says the question is Silent Bob is gay, is his theory.
Okay.
And Kevin Smith basically goes, yeah, you're right. Like he's always been gay. That's the joke. And actually it confirms it in this film as well, because he was talking about Jane Silent Bob reboot. I don't remember it being confirmed in this film at all. I don't think that he can play off his kind of continual gay panic jokes as, oh, actually he was gay all along. I think that's kind of offensive.
Well, there's a scene in Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back where Diedrich Bader, who's like a famous voice artist, I think he did Batman and stuff like that. He's like a security on the studio backlot.
He plays security in this as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then Jane Silent Bob, they try and say, look, will you let us go? If Silent Bob has oral sex with me, will you let us off? And he's like, yeah, go on then, but make it sexy. So then Bob goes then to go down on Jay, but then Jay then smacks the security guy on the head. And then Jay turns to Bob going, ooh, you're really going to do it. And then as Jay walks away, Silent Bob's shaking his head, but then it quickly turns into a nod, and it's like, all right then.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. This guy will suck your dick off if you let us go.
Contrary to what you believe, not everyone in the industry is a homosexual.
How about this deal? He'll suck my dick while you watch and jerk off.
All right. Make it fast and sexy.
It's either this or jail, and you know what they do to you in jail.
I was a guard. All right. And after it's all over, you say, oh, what a lovely tea party.
The fuck you waiting for, bitch? Start sucking. Bong! Worth a shot. Like a shot in your fucking mouth, you gay bitch. Ew, dude, you were really gonna suck my dick.
He pointed to that and said, like, yeah, see, it was always that way. And it's like,
Oh, did he actually point to that bit?
yeah. And it's just, no, it's just, your whole films have always been just cock jokes and gay sex jokes. Like, let's not pretend that there was some greater thought to this or something, or greater, like, sense of, like, inclusion or something. I just hate it. I don't know. I just found it offensive in this film. He's trying to play off kind of the gay panic jokes that he constantly does as inclusion. And I felt it kind of disingenuous, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was an awkward time in the 90s. I mean, Chasing Amy, a white straight man trying to write humor for the LGBT community. It's never going to kind of come across as genuine.
It's not always going to land.
Exactly. But then people then cite Friends as having like gay panic humor.
It's full of it.
But the creators and writers of Friends were gay.
The 90s was full of gay panic jokes.
Which is crazy.
Like, I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say as well, though. Like, the 90s was full of this. The 90s films were full of it. The 90s sitcoms were full of it. Stand-up was as well. Like, it was all just normal. And that's what Kevin Smith writing is. It's a product of that. And I don't think that he's grown with it, even if his thoughts on it in his head have grown. You know, he's become more inclusive and more accepting, whatever. I don't know if his writing's grown with it. I think it's just he's doing the same jokes, but now pretending they're inclusional, rather than being not offensive, but just a bit kind of tired more than anything else.
Well, I was going to say, do you consider them being homophobic, though, those jokes?
It's homophobic in a way that it feels kind of othering, like, and it feels kind of exclusionary, kind of people like you wouldn't hang out with
Okay.
anymore in that kind of way. It's not that necessarily he's doing anything hateful or thinks anything hateful, but you kind of wouldn't choose to hang out with those people if they constantly make those jokes, I think, is the way I kind of started feeling about it, which is, I guess, why I started turning on the film a little bit. But
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
it's odd. I found it odd anyway. I found it, like, especially because we're talking so long after Clerks, like, that it still feels the same, but now he's justifying it in a weirder way.
Yeah, I mean, how long ago was that? 25 years ago?
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
And I think Strikes Back is probably worse for that. I haven't watched it recently, but I can imagine it's worse.
Oh, yeah, there's so many, like, what is it? I hate guys, I love women, all that kind of...
Yeah, constant.
That kind of stuff, like, just to find their manliness or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, to find some sort of dominance or to find some manliness. But then you had, like, Jay's wife, and this was then with Rosie O'Dawson, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah. So I'm guessing her surname is Falcon.
Oh, God, I do not know. Is Rosie O'Dawson the same character that's in Clerks 2?
I don't think she's the same character. I was wondering, though, if his wife was the same character from Clerks 2.
Which one's his wife?
She's the one that Kevin Smith ends up having sex with in the bathroom.
That's
while
what one.
Kevin
Yeah,
Smith
okay, yeah. She is playing the same character from Tusk and Yoga Hosers, rather than
Who is his wife?
yeah.
I didn't know she was in either of those.
I know that because of this fucking video I watched.
So is movies in those films then or not?
No, because they're in Canada, and there's a
Oh, okay. They don't have movies over there.
there's a Canadian brand called, it was something like Gimli something. Gim. There's a scene in Tusk where he's squashing, like Johnny Depp's squashing a slider for ages, and he squashes it into like a flat disc, and that takes place.
A slider?
You know, a slider, mini burger.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tiny burger, yeah. He kind of squashes it for ages. With one of the longest scenes in cinema history.
So does that mean we're potentially going to get another Johnny Depp performance in what's it, Moose Jaws?
Moose Jaws.
Do you know what? I didn't realise how big moose were, and I saw a video the other day of like this moose just walking on the side of a road, and this car just slowed down to film it. They're fucking ginormous.
Yeah.
They are like scarily big.
I think bucks can be huge. I've never seen one.
So any more thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob Reboot? I tell you what, one thing, I don't know if you noticed this, but I thought it was really dark. It just seemed really, really... The cinematography was really dark.
Yeah. I didn't notice, to be honest.
No. But I don't know if it's because I watched Strikes Back before, but it looked more like a film. And I'm guessing it's probably because it was shot on film as opposed to digital.
Did the same person shoot both films? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's have a look. I very much doubt it.
Does he have a go-to cinematographer?
He used to. He used to have a guy called David Klein, but he then became the lead cinematographer on Homeland, you know, the TV series.
Oh, yeah.
And so he did all of the films up until Dogma. Well, basically he was told he was not allowed to have him for Dogma, which apparently they just won an award for Chasing Amy. And he went to have a meeting the same day about Dogma, and they're all excited. And the girl who was going to play, Alyssa from Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
She was going to play the lead in Dogma.
Oh, okay.
But Harvey Weinstein was like, you cannot hire her. You have to hire this person. And you cannot have...
now I know.
There's
what
probably
that
reasons
means.
why he didn't want her, or I don't know.
Oh.
But so cinematographer on Strikes Back was Jamie Anderson, who I've never heard of, and he doesn't have an IMDb. I don't think.
With him.
I mean, none of his films look that great, though. To be fair,
David Klein shot Clerks 2.
did he? Oh,
And a guy called
So
Yaron Levy shot.
yeah, I've just seen that one. Yeah,
Don't know.
I believe Jersey Girl had quite a good cinematographer on it, though.
That must really suck going back to the Dogma thing, though. You can see why his arc getting fed up with Studio Pictures kind of happened, if that's the kind of stuff that happened to his crew and people he
Like
likes.
he can't pick and choose who he wants in his film. He's kind of dictated.
And you can see why he got fed up with it all, but I feel like he's a
So
weird
the
guy.
cinematographer who did Jersey Girl also worked on Close Encounters and Deer Hunter.
Who's that?
So yeah, his name is Vilmos Zsigmond,
Vilmos Zsigmond. Okay.
and his last film, he hasn't done a film in 10 years. So he did You Will Meet a Tall Dark Stranger. He did the Black Dahlia, Melinda and Melinda, Ghost in the Darkness, Assassins,
Oh, that's a one.
The Witches of Easterwick.
Oh,
Oh, he did Blowout, which I love that film.
I love Blowout. Yeah, Blowout's a great film.
And he did Deliverance as well. Oh yeah, but the music as well, like, it was pretty incidental. It wasn't really...
It was one of the things that stood out to me when I watched Strikes Back for the first time, because it felt like it was a cartoon.
Oh man.
Like, it had cartoon sound effects, everything, and the music.
Well, the
as well.
music punctuates jokes, and there's one bit with George Carlin that really stuck out to me, where if you're hitchhiking, you got to give a guy a
I
blowjob.
was going to say there's about a 5-minute segment that's just about giving blowjobs to
Yeah,
hitchhikers.
and then the last line is of his first rule in the book, and the way he says it, they accentuate it with the music going dun 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 dun.
If you get a ride, it's expected. I don't care who the driver is. It's the first rule in the book.
What book?
The unwritten book of the road.
And it's just so irritating because every 5 seconds he goes. Brrrr.
See, I seem to remember liking that decision because it's trying to just be a live action tune. So
No, I didn't mind it in that film. It's Reboot that kind of, it didn't really have anything going on.
So I just thought to myself then, I really liked the way Tusk was shot, because it doesn't look like his other films at all. And the guy who shot Tusk shot Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
Who shot Yoga Hoses?
So that I should say the guy is James Laxton, who shot Tusk and shot Moonlight.
And he did Yoga Hoses.
Did he as well? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Man, it would have helped if he shot this. Anyway, Kevin Smith, a man who has...
What a guy.
I think he's probably influenced more films than he'll ever get credit for.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, they kind of... Judd Apatow and all that crew kind of credit him for kind of starting that kind of bro kind of everyday conversational kind of humour.
Influential, but also kind of influential not just in inspiring people. I mean, like he set his own production company up. His tendrils go far. We've just found out with like James Laxton, was it, that there's people who get jobs through his films that end up going to do other things. He's produced films. He gave, yourself money for for like Kickstarters and stuff. So he's a guy who I don't think you can remove from especially 90s cinema history, but it's just really weird that he got lazy with it or just stopped caring or something. I think if I had to kind of point at something at where did Kevin Smith go wrong or not, like I don't like to say it like that because he's doing whatever he wants to do, but it's when he got so obsessed with critics, I think, is when he starts getting problems. And the weird thing is that Clerks became a hit because of critics. No one would have found that film if it wasn't for film critics saying that this is a really good film, this is really important. And as soon as those same critics say you're not doing a good thing, he just can't handle that. And
well, I think when he did Mallrats, and they just suddenly turned on him, I think that was a big thing for him, and that's why he suddenly thought, "Well, I've got to go back to."
He took it personally
to my roots and do a film like Clerks, which is not off my own back. So I don't think he got
no.
Again, going back to like being told who you can cast and who you can't. I think when he wanted to do Chasing Amy, they said you got to have David Schwimmer, Drew Barrymore, and you can get your $6 million that you want. And he says, well, I want to cast these people. And he goes, well, here you go. You can have $250,000 and make what you want. And Miramax won out either way then. So cause they still own the film. Yeah. And it probably makes as much money as it would have done if it had those people in. So he's stuck. And he seems very happy and content doing what he does. And that's great then, I guess, for him. But for people who want more from him, it's a bit of a shame.
I think Kevin Smith is best when he's being sincere. And I think the problem with Reboot is it's at its best when it's being sincere. But most of the film is not. Most of the film is just him doing cameos from his universe, bringing actors in he likes, tying up things that are nothing to do with the film, but they're something to do with the kind of universe that he's created, or just doing callbacks to that stuff. When he writes something sincere, it worked for me. Like the last chat worked for me when it was Millennium Falcon and Jay outside the Quick Stop. That worked for me. If the film was about that, I think it'd be better than the film is. If he was just trying to do something, since it's weird when I'm saying that he constantly does stuff from his own life, but he doesn't do it sincerely. If he just did a sincere film about what he thinks about fatherhood, or what he thinks about, you know, his heart attack, or what he thinks about whatever he wants to talk about, you know, the geek culture that he loves, it might work. But he never went back to that sincere well that he did in Clerks. He never really tapped that again. It's almost like he got put off about the fact that he put so much of himself on the line for kind of, let's say, other films or something, that he just backed away from it forever. And I'll go back to saying, mate, if Clerks 3 is about something, maybe that could be really good, but I don't think Clerks 3 is going to be Clerks 1. I think it's going to be Clerks 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn it.
But I just, you know, that's why. That's like if Cars 3 makes Cars 2 look like Cars 1. Is that the joke? I can't remember Griffin Newman's joke.
Have you seen that Griffin Newman's going to be in Kevin Smith's
He is.
show?
He is. He's going to play the assistant
Orko.
of He-Man.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's such good. I'm so happy for Griffin actually getting that. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah. Again, he's just cast people from his world in that as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. So I can't believe we spent the whole time talking about Kevin Smith. We haven't talked about the fact he's just got a Netflix He-Man series.
I know. Yeah.
And he has. He's absolutely just cast it with the people he knows as well.
I mean, I quite like Mark Hamill as Skeletor, though. I have to say.
Yeah, it's great. Isn't Kevin Conroy playing someone?
Yeah, so is he Merman?
Yeah, so Diedrich Bader's in it as Trapjaw. Kevin Conroy's Merman. Liam Cunningham. Can you guess? Can you guess who Liam Cunningham's going to play?
I'm trying to think of characters from He-Man.
You know your Masters of the Universe world.
I don't, not really. Not Man at Arms.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah. I knew you'd get it. Susan Eisenberg's playing Sorceress. I don't know who Sorceress is.
Sorceress is like the bird lady. So you know the one that in the film he's like taking the power from her. That, you know, Frank Langella's taking the power from.
You've watched that? Oh, I do remember.
That's the Sorceress. Who's Sarah Michelle Gellar?
She's playing Teela.
Because I read that this series is not actually about He-Man.
Oh, good.
It's focusing on Teela.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Lena Headley.
Yeah.
Is playing Evil Lynn. Phil Lamar's playing Hero. Who the fuck is Hero?
Hero, if I remember, is supposed to be what He-Man's son was going to become.
Okay.
So they were going to reboot the series with He-Man's son. So He-Man was going to become older, and then Hero was going to be the new hero of the show. Yeah, they're releasing new they're like trying to they're trying to make Master of the Universe a thing again. So I think the toys are relaunching next year, and I think Netflix might be doing the film, maybe. I don't know how that He-Man works as a film. Like, it's such a daft concept.
It's barely a concept.
I think if you go for like the campness of it and the bright colours and stuff like that, then I think it could work. But I think they'll try and make it
too self-serious,
and it just won't work. Then I think it's got to be a bit daft.
All these 80s things are just...
But take itself seriously, obviously, but self-seriously, but in that kind of...
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you got Justin Long is back in it as Roboto. Jason Mewes is in it as Stinkor.
Of course he's going to be Stinkor.
I like Stinkor. I like the Stinkor figure.
Is he the one who looks like a skunk?
He's the one that looks like a skunk here that's got like a mask over him. Henry Rollins is Triclops.
The Black Flag singer.
The other day, Vulture I think it was Vulture, did a list of the top 10 Henry Rollins film roles. And I was like, what could that possibly look like? No offense to Henry Rollins, but I don't really take him as a... I'm going to finish off my list. Stephen Root is Kringer?
Stephen Root. Is that Milton from...
Yeah. Alicia Silverstone as Queen Marlena.
Alicia Silverstone. Gee. The last thing I saw of her was when she was feeding her child like a bird would, so she would eat the food in her mouth and then spit it in a child's mouth.
Oh dear. I watched Blast from the Past not long ago. She's really good in that.
Ah, that's got
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Odd film. Harley Quinn Smith plays Elena. Tiffany Smith plays Andrea.
I don't know who that is.
Cree Summer plays Priestess, and Chris Wood plays He-Man. Wait, do you want to end it with the 19 best roles of Henry Rollins ranked?
Go on then. I want to know what the best roles are. See if
I can't do 19.
see if I've actually... You want me to guess them?
Let's do 10.
Okay. I know was he in Lost Highway, the David Lynch film?
Number 12 is Heat, which I don't remember. I don't remember it being in Heat. Number 11, sorry, is Bad Boys 2. Okay, number 9. I haven't heard of number 10. The Devil's Tomb.
No idea.
So number 9 is a film with a Batman actor in it.
Okay.
Which is about... It's kind of a Christmas film.
Okay. Does it have a snowman in it?
Yes.
Is it Jack Frost?
It is.
Yes.
Number 8 is... it's a sequel to a horror film about a kind of south states of America disfigured family kind of killing you.
But The Hills Have Eyes? No.
A similar sort of thing, but...
It was Wrong Turn. Did they have a sequel?
Yes, it's Wrong Turn.
Did
too.
it? Okay, there we go then.
Number 7 is a film you mentioned. That's a Lynch film.
Oh, Lost Highway.
Yeah. See, you did good.
I've not seen him in these films though.
No, I can't remember any of them. Number 6 is... No one's ever heard of this. It's The Last Heist.
Nope, no idea.
Number 5 is Morgan's Ferry. I don't know.
Okay.
Number 4, great film, 1995, stars an actor everybody loves and the internet especially loves him.
Nick Cage?
No, he's
Okay.
known for being incredibly nice and relaxed all the time. He's had
Keanu?
yeah,
Is
And
it Johnny Mnemonic?
it is.
Yes.
Number 3 is a Deftones song. I don't.
A Deftones song.
I don't know this film.
A Deftones song.
If You Were Changing.
What, in the House of Flies?
Yeah, in the House of Flies. Top 3
Okay.
Henry Rollins films. Number 2, I've never heard of this. He Never Died.
No idea.
He plays an immortal character. He plays an immortal cannibal. And number 1 of this, I don't understand why we did this list, is... No, I don't know this film.
And this is his best performance?
This is his best performance. I'm going to have to look it up. Because I can't just say this one out loud. It is directed by Adam Rifkin. It stars Charlie Sheen
Yeah.
and Kirsty Swanston. It came out in 94.
Not The Chase.
Yes! Yes!
Wasn't that where, like... aren't they, like... I kind of... Didn't he kidnap a woman or something and they kind of get it on?
Is it one of those? He kidnaps a lady and they fall in love?
I think so. What was the other Charlie Sheen one where he was, like, skydiving?
Vertical Limit? Is that what it's called?
Was it that one?
Is that what it's called?
What's the state of Charlie Sheen now? Is he normal again?
We're not
or
going
is he,
into
like-
Charlie Sheen. I'm going it off there.
All right, then. Should we call it a day then?
We'll call it a day with the Henry Rollins game. I think next time we'll go with 1990. I reckon.
1990. Okay.
Yeah. Wild at Heart.
Oh, I've never seen that one, so that's good.
Talking of Nick Cage, why don't we go for Wild at Heart?
Well, and David Lynch. Yes, so we'll do the David Lynch film Wild at Heart with Nick Cage and
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. She's in it.
Who I just learned is the daughter of Bruce Dern.
Is she?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
I can't believe you didn't know either. I'm so happy.
No. I love Bruce Dern. Great
I love
actor.
Laura Dern. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Please rate, review, and subscribe. And if the picture's bad, please adjust your tracking.
Bye.
Bye.